Laugh every day, no matter what. Written by Greg Macneil. Narrated by Kevin Wagner. Humor is a serious business for happiness, and cultivating the skill of finding humor in life, even during the darkest of times, can be the secret to keeping us from despair. Arthur C. Brooks, The Atlantic. Foreword. From the first time I met Greg Macneil in the 1990s when I was an intern on one of the publications the magazine mogul oversaw, I knew I was around someone genuinely unique and special. Indeed, everyone who has ever been around the guy for any length of time has the same sentiment. Boy, that Greg is a beauty, one of a kind. To the extent that when I told several former colleagues he was doing a book about his life, they were like, well, what took him so long? Greg is gregarious, mischievous, hilarious, charming, confident, but not arrogant, competitive, resilient, resourceful, humble, and kind, all at once. Those character traits, coupled with his impeccable appearance over the years, the suits, trim physique, even now at 75 he works out so hard that his doctor told him to dial things down a bit, George Clooney-esque hair, and contortionist facial expressions reminiscent of Jim Carrey in The Mask, give him the air of someone who belongs both in a GQ-style feature, Yuck Yuck's comedy stage, and Netflix docuseries. As an aspiring writer-editor during those early years of my career who observed him during and after work hours, including more than a few office parties, he can boogie, I always had this mental note about him. The very publications he ran for decades as a legendary publisher that did long feature profiles on interesting Canadian subjects would have had the Stanley Cup of stories if they could write about one of their own, Greg Macneil. Newspapers and trade journals over the years who profiled him did an admirable job of capturing his essence for readers, understanding there was something special about him as an entrepreneur, salesman, showman, magazine owner, philanthropist, and person. Yet they only scratched the surface about who he was and what shaped and molded him as a child into the person he became. I always thought to myself, an extended version of Greg's life, man, that would be special. Over the years, Greg and I have had several stints together at various publications. Even long after I left the magazine industry, we stayed in touch. Well, actually, he did more so than I, but that's just another fantastic skill he has, of checking in with people far and wide that have crossed paths with him. During more recent phone conversations and follow-up texts, I began to encourage him to write a book about his life, the hurdles, the people, the magazine world, the highs and lows, the defining moments, the bellyache laughter anecdotes. These could serve as inspiration and fuel for people to learn to live their best life personally and professionally with no excuses. Everyone has their baggage, and so too does Greg. And check off everything on their bucket list. At the very least, I knew they'd come away entertained. Greg took up the challenge as he does with everything in his life and eventually put pen to paper to see how things felt. There was no writer's block. The words flowed naturally, and with each draft he sent me, capturing decades of his life, I could feel the momentum building. Luckily, he has a photographic memory, another Greg Macneil asset, which leads to a memoir of life lessons and laugh-out-loud moments from one of the greatest storytellers there is. From getting banned at a racetrack as a tween for flipping programs at discounted rates, to dropping out of an office ceiling for a surprise birthday, to showing up at a business Halloween party with a horse, to his epic fly fishing adventures around the world, to dramatic pitches to NHL executives on product patents he had for a player's safety, Greg's life is both stranger and funnier than fiction, as you'll see. He is also kind, as I can attest to firsthand. He gave me all sorts of opportunities early on in my media career, and now by asking me to write this
Sample complete. Ready to continue?